The story begins innocently enough in the late 1970s. Johnny Van Arsdale married Linda Spencer, his teenage sweetheart. They had two sons, Sean and Jeremy. By the fall of 1985, Johnny was doing electrical work at the Brass Falcon, a Georgetown business, and the marriage was in trouble. That's when Linda got the phone call that would change her family's life forever.
He said that he was going out of town and he would be gone a few days, and when he came back, he would have thousands of dollars. He said, we're just going to get back together, be a family again.
That was the last time she would hear from her husband. In late November, Linda watched a TV news story about two bodies that turned up in Emmanuel Hollow near Barberville. J.M. Hall was a young deputy coroner at the time.
They had been shot and dumped in a ravine. Two rabbit hunters came through, was rabbit hunting, and came up on the bodies.
Linda heard police describe what the two dead men were wearing, and she knew one of them was Johnny. She says during the investigation, state police told her they theorized Johnny and his friend, Estill Jackson Jr., had driven Jackson's van to Barberville to steal someone's marijuana crop and were murdered. Shot to death?
They were execution style, both of them shot 3 times.
Johnny's oldest son, Sean, admits his dad was probably mixed up in some drug scheme. But the stories and rumors he's heard over almost 30 years led him to a different conclusion about what happened.
I think that they were growing marijuana, and there were several people that knew that they were growing it, and they were just waiting for the right time to take it from them.
The legal trail in Van Arsdale and Jackson's murders led us here to the Knox County Courthouse in Barberville, where in July of 1988, Jerry Lee Edwards and James C. Warren were subpoenaed to appear before the grand jury. Less than 3 weeks later, Jerry Lee Edwards was dead. So the case against Edwards that began in the winter of '86 and was repeatedly bogged down by Edwards' mental illness claims was dismissed 3 years after the murders. A convenience not lost on his co-defendant Warren, who had his case dismissed in the summer of 1989. The lure of big money and illegal drugs can be a very seductive proposition. But as Johnny Van Arsdale and Estill Jackson Jr. found out, the consequences can be fatal. No one else has ever been charged in the murders. But Sean Van Arsdale still believes someone out there knows something that will lead to another arrest. However,
what if that never happens? What if you never know?
Well, then I'll just have to live with it.
of this much we're certain. Because of what happened to Johnny Van Arsdale, a woman never got a second chance at her marriage. There were no more family dinners, no church together on Sundays, and two boys never got to play ball or go hunting or fishing with their dad. That's not a mystery. That's a fact.